Alrighty, traders, let's jump into our trade and market recap for Monday, October 16th, 2023. Let's take a look at what happened in the markets first. And after Volmageddon Day on Friday, we had a bounce back session today and vol came out of the market. So we saw volatility drop on the day, which was nice to see for a lot of different positions that we had out there. And we still haven't closed anything for the last session or two. But nice to see our P&L jumping nicely as volatility eased a tad from Friday. Now, we also talked about the fact that volatility is mean reverting, and typically any outsized spikes in volatility will be met by volatility shrinking a tad. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it gave us opportunities to trade last week on that big vol increase on Friday. If you're a premium seller like we are, that's fantastic stuff to see. And we took advantage of it, especially in gold, by putting on a gold strangle, and we'll touch base on that in just a moment. All right, so on the weekly chart here on SPY, continue to see this downtrend in this expanding channel, lower lows, lower highs. Now we're going to see what happens on this 3-week run that we've been on a tad in SPY, where we've really been trying to move a bit higher. This is only one day in this week, but you are seeing MACD trying to reverse RSI moving higher. That is a good bullish sign on the weekly. If we zoom in on the daily sessions here, we can see that we are just ping-ponging between the 50 EMA in pink here and the 21 EMA in green. And you're just ping-ponging between those two levels for 5 straight sessions now. We're also trying to fill this gap that runs all the way up to about 438 on SPY. We have been in the gap range for the 5 straight sessions, but we just can't seem to close the gap. But MACD continues to move its way higher. RSI back above the 50. We'll see what happens. Just a lot of sideways consolidation action. I think the market really kind of wants to move, but with the uncertainty over what's happening over in Israel and the Gaza Strip, with Iran rattling their sabers and Hezbollah, threatening to get involved. A lot of mess going on over there, which is creating some uncertainty in the markets, but the markets really, I think, do want to move at least higher at this time. It's just difficult. If that war wasn't happening, I think we'd be moving higher. The thing for our advantage here is it's creating a lot of volatility in the market. Even though we dropped on the session here, that's helping us as premium sellers. So we do like that action. We'll see how we resolve. Can we break through this gap here? Can we get above and stay above the 50 exponential? Until that happens, not too bullish on the markets, and until we break this downtrend on the weekly, I'm still not too bullish. If we take a look at the Qs, pretty much a similar story overall, but the Qs have not fallen below that 21 or the 50 EMA for a week or so now on the daily, and this session bounced nicely off of them yesterday. We'll see what happens on the Qs coming up here on Tuesday, but MACD decent, RSI above 50, nothing wrong there. The weekly definitely showing you some reversal on MACD and RSI, and bouncing off the 21 and heading towards the top of this zone. You've got a bullish PSAR signal on the daily, and you're only a fraction away from flipping the bearish to bullish here on the weekly. So tech stock still overall looking pretty good, heading into earnings. Got a lot of earnings coming up to keep an eye on. The Qs, a little bit of a bounce after a couple horrendous down days here. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening on the Qs. I'm sorry, on IWM. But this downtrend, pretty solid. It's been continuing to head lower, while RSI and MACD are just struggling to get off the mat a bit on the daily and on the weekly. This downtrend is pretty tight. We did break this previous little trend line here, not by significant amount, so I can really not consider it totally broken. Tried to bounce yesterday. We'll see what happens. IWM definitely the weakest of the three averages that we take a look at. S&P 500 stocks that are trading above their 50 moving average slipped up a little bit higher yesterday to about 31%. Still somewhat of an oversold reading. You've got it moving higher. We're nowhere near an overbought reading, so that's also somewhat of a decent bullish sign out there. VIX on the session as well here on the 16th, dropping down to 17 again. So VIX pops up to 19, almost 20, and then back down to 17. VIX just continues to ping pong in this range. However, it is definitely elevated off of this 13 to 15-ish range that we were in from probably April, through maybe the beginning of September. So long time staying pretty low, starting to get a little active here. Great for us. Definitely helping our theta, definitely helping selling premium here. Not great if you're a option buyer. US dollar on the session yesterday dropped. So this was, again, another dropping day. And if we look at this channel that we've been in, we are breaking out. Now it's more of a sideways break than a downside break, but either way, you're breaking out of this. We'll see if this really this trend line starts to act a little bit more as a resistance level here on the dollar. But nice to see the dollar starting to sell off a bit, getting a little bit weaker. Good for us in Forex positions. TLT on the session, just another bad day. So all of the long TLT buyers, you've heard it here a million times as I continue to hammer on it. It's not time yet on TLT. You've got a falling wedge pattern. You are bouncing off of the bottom of the line. Positive. Weekly MACD starting to move up. Positive. RSI oversold. Almost a positive. Okay, can't get above the oversold line yet on the weekly. And then if you zoom in on the daily here, MACD's already had a decent reversal and may be looking to flip over. RSI could not get above the 50 at all. In fact, let's draw that 50 on here. I know we add these periodically on some charts that we don't really watch it as closely on. But let's take a quick look at where the 50 line is. And to me, that's more of a magical number. That move up or below that line really gives me a sense of where is the momentum on this particular trade. And you cannot get above this 50 yet. I'm still not convinced that TLT is moving higher. And in the after hours market, it is also falling once again. So it fell, tried to move up on Friday, gapped back down on Monday, and I believe it's going to fall on Tuesday as well. Bonds are still not the investment. So TLT still sucks at this point in time. TNX, if we're looking at the 10-year treasury yields, it did move up on the session yesterday and is looking to gap up in the after hours market here as well. So interest rates rising back up, bonds falling. If you're listening to someone that's telling you it's about to double, go all in on the TLT, you just gotta wait. Okay, your time will come. It ain't here now. All right, so there's your review of the bonds as well. Let's take a quick look at a little bit of a bounce. We had a dollar falling, so the Aussie dollar rose on the session. The British pound rose on the session. The Canadian dollar, second day rising on the session. And the euro rising on the session yesterday. All still in significant downtrends. The euro is just in this channel. It has not broken through this channel, so there's nothing quite yet to get excited about. But we are getting close to the top of this channel. But you can't break the 50 on the RSI to the upside, and MACD is rolling over. So you guys see more weakness in the dollar, and we'll keep watching what's going on overseas. Let's take a look at oil, which is where a lot of excitement is happening. simply because of all of the stuff going on in the Middle East. MACD has been falling weekly now for 5 straight weeks. So we started off this week as well, falling on the session. So we tried to bounce last week a bit on oil, got a kick, and now flipping back over. MACD is just falling. RSI is falling. Even though you're in this uptrend and expanding uptrend channel, I think you could probably maybe redraw it a tad, but it's still really expanding here. So this is you know, it's an uptrend. This was a pullback in an uptrend, and now maybe you're getting the next bounce up, or maybe not. RSI on the daily trying to move above the 50. MACD has definitely been reversing up for about a week or so now. You're trying to hold on to the 21 EMA. Again, a down day yesterday, great for our oil positions. The more we just chug sideways here, the better it is for all of our strangles. Gold, so this was a main driver in Volmageddon Friday. Gold pulled back on the session, and a lot of volatility came back out of gold. IVR back down to about 48 on gold. So gold chilling out a bit right at the top of this downtrend channel that we've been bumping into. So gold right up against the top of this channel that we've hit 1, 2, 3, pretty much 4, 5, 6, and now after hours 7, and gold up a tad after hours, but not much. So nice pullback day on gold, a nice drop in volatility on gold, which is great for our trades. And we put on a gold strangle Friday in the middle of that Volmageddon session, and that trade is already up 30% over the weekend, technically one trading day and some Sunday night action. So liking what we're seeing on gold there. Futures. Sectors on the session, XLK moved up. So tech stocks moving up, XLY moving up as well on the day, and XLC, your communications, also moving up on the day. Energy moved up on the day. Financials moved up on the day. You've got banks reporting. They're all reporting great earnings right now. Here's the XLP moved up, V moved up, pretty much across the board. Very strong sectors. Semiconductors here moved up as well. Retail had a big day. Regional banks moved up. So a big positive session on Monday. And if we're looking at these regionals, they're just trying to break out of this descending wedge here. And I can extend this out now just a tad further. We'll see if this becomes support. And I kind of glossed over the semis a bit. Trying to break out, really couldn't do it. And tried to, last week, trying again yesterday, couldn't do it. I don't know that, we've got the juice to be open the session on Tuesday, but we'll see what happens. MACD, though, rolling over on the daily, but some strength on the weekly. So some strength on the weekly chart here. So right now, we'll keep an eye on that. Amazon up on the session, but just hitting the top of the downtrend channel. Apple up on the session, but barely. So Apple really not making much of a move. Trying to extend this little line a little further here so we can see what happened. Again, bounced off this, failed on Thursday and Friday, dropped down, bounced off to 21. So just some good sideways consolidating action, but you got MACD rolling over on the daily. Microsoft breaking out of that channel. So we'll keep an eye on Microsoft, which looks pretty decent. We'll see if it can get any follow through. And I think Tuesday is going to be a down session. We're going to give back some of the gains. We might be coming back to reality a bit. Just don't have the volatility. And then Meta having a nice rebound day yesterday. We have a butterfly in Meta. That butterfly's got 3 days to go. We are up 37%. We're centered at the 330 line. So we're right at the top where we hit previously, which is also right above the Bollinger Band. So we'll keep an eye on Meta. If Meta can get some follow through, if not, we're still up decently on that position. Google tried to hit the top of the channel, couldn't break through it, pulled back significantly, bounced yesterday. We'll see how it goes, but I think tech stocks pull back on Tuesday this week. NVIDIA, a little bit of a bounce yesterday as well, and then Tesla, a bit of a bounce as well. But Tesla still can't get to the 21, not holding the 21. MACD is turning over on this RSI back below 50. The weekly looks, a tad weak. It's kind of a neutral, but you are in this extraordinarily tight triangle that we're in here. Something's got to give, and you're looking any day now. Something's got to break up or down. Will we get to earnings first? And earnings on Tesla are on the 18th, which is on Wednesday of this week. So we'll keep an eye. Pretty much it's going to come down to that earnings, whether we're going to pop to the upside or drop to the downside on Tesla. And I'm just going to skip quickly to AMD since we have a trade on an AMD. Broke out of this descending wedge. For us, we put on a credit spread. That spread is up 37% now in 8 days. A nice breakout, pulling back. We'll see, does the previous top of this wedge, does that become support, or do we even get some support at the 21 and the 50 EMAs? We'll see what happens here, but otherwise, our AMD is 88.91. So 91 is down here where the 3 ATR is. It's also the bottom of this trend line. So we're below some support levels here. So I do like it. We're in a positive bullish PSAR move on the daily, not the weekly, but the daily. But the weekly has been trending higher on MACD and RSI. So we do like where that is. A couple other quick stocks to jump into, or maybe non-stocks, but take a look at what's going on in Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a monstrous day on Monday, the 16th here. Monstrous day, up a bit, finished off of its highs, well off its highs, but it cracked the 3 ATR. That's how big that move was. But well above the 50 and the 21 moving average now, and getting some follow through after hours here. MACD is rising, RSI is rising on the daily, and you're also seeing the reversal on both of those on the weekly, breaking through this downtrend line here. We can almost probably get rid of this now. We are now setting higher highs. So there's 2 higher highs now, and there's also 2 lower lows. So liking what we're seeing, we can actually probably put in a new trend line along this to keep an eye on for some particular support. And then do we find some support for Bitcoin dating back in here, pulling this thing sideways and drawing some support from this previous pivot level here that we hit back in May. So this previous pivot level here, we bounced, it was a resistance that we broke, resistance again, okay, resistance again, resistance again, resistance again, broke through it yesterday. Now we'll see, does this flip and become a support level? And with this breakout, I think it's a pretty good look for Bitcoin. So bullish Bitcoin here. You got to hold off a little bit on MicroStrategy and Coin just because they have earnings, but Bitcoin itself, not too shabby looking. And let's take a quick look at SoFi. Now we got earnings coming up. We know SoFi is not necessarily one of my favorites at all, but pretty close to the AMD piece where you might start to get some reversal. Now, 1 bar does not make a reversal here on the weekly, but RSI is moving higher. MACD reversed on the 1 day of this week. This descending wedge we broke out of, we're coming back again. So do we, A, use this top line of the wedge? Does this become a support level and we bounce higher here? Unlike some of the other ones, this is only 1 higher high here, and no higher lows yet. So what we want to do is see maybe some kind of a bounce here. Now, SoFi reports on the 30th. So we have 2 weeks till SoFi reports. That report's not going to help us much here. Bollinger Bands are getting tight. This thing is squeezing a bit in here. So we're going to keep an eye on what's going on. But you are getting tight in SoFi. If you can get a bounce off of this 21, potentially you can move higher. We'll see what happens. It's kind of an indecisive move right now, but something that we will keep an eye on. And then last thing I want to touch base on is Square. It doesn't report till 11/2. But on the weekly, you do again have MACD trying to reverse higher, RSI coming off oversold. You haven't broken the 50 yet on the RSI on the daily, but you've got a bullish PSR move higher, MACD and RSI moving higher. So anyway, there's like a good handful of stocks. Let's take a look at where we were in the account. Yesterday, we did not close anything, so a nothing day there. However, Delta's closed at about at 75. That is as small a delta as we've had in a long time. We are extraordinarily delta neutral, which is perfect on that move up. Our theta remains very strong at 0.5. We managed to put in $11,000 upside day, so 11 grand to the upside without closing a single thing. It's just all net lick jumping on the session and volatility coming out, which is great for us. BP dropped just a fraction, so we're at 68% on BP. Like where we're sitting, we can actually fix this formula up. Okay, we are pretty much flat for the month, waiting for several things to close. So we've got a lot of winners on there that just have not closed. They just have not hit their targets yet. So we'll keep an eye on how things are going here. Overall, bonds still weak. Market, did it have its rally on Monday? And that's all we get. You know, are we going to settle back into some sideways action? Bank earnings, fantastic. Oil, it's holding its own because of all this Middle East tension. We'll see what happens. Lots going on in the markets. Stay tuned, everybody. Should be an exciting week. All right, stay safe. Take care. If you like this video, please click that like button. Please subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.